Hello and a very warm welcome to the channel. I am so glad you've chosen to be here today because it means you are taking an active role in your own health, and that is the most powerful first step you can possibly take. If you spend any time online, you have probably seen the headlines. They are designed to grab your attention and, frankly, to scare you. Headlines like, "The 2 worst vitamins that are weakening your legs," or, "The foods you think are healthy that are secretly harming you." It is incredibly confusing. You try to do the right things. You eat your vegetables, you try to stay active, maybe you even take a multivitamin believing you are supporting your health. And then you read a headline like that and it plants a seed of doubt. Am I doing more harm than good? Are my supplements, the ones I bought to stay strong, actually making me weaker? Let's be very clear about what's at stake, especially for those of us over 60. Leg strength isn't about vanity. It's not about running a marathon or fitting into old clothes. It is about your independence. It is about your quality of life. It's the freedom to get up from a low chair without having to brace yourself with both arms. It's the confidence to walk on uneven ground, to play in the yard with your grandchildren, or to carry your own groceries into the house. It is, most critically, the foundation of your balance. Strong legs are your #1 defense against a fall. And as we all know, a fall after 60 isn't just a minor incident. It can be a life-changing event that threatens the very independence we cherish. So when a video claims that 2 common vitamins are weakening your legs, it feels urgent and personal. My name is your name/channel name, and my mission here is to be your trusted guide through this noise. My promise to you is that this channel will always provide honest, science-based health answers. In this video we are going to tackle this alarming claim head-on. We are not just going to list good foods and bad foods. We are going to look at the actual science. We will investigate the claims about vitamin A and vitamin D. Is there any truth to them at all? Or is the real story more complex? We will uncover the real dietary culprits that genuinely contribute to inflammation, muscle loss, and joint pain. And most importantly, I will give you a proactive, evidence-based plan to build real, lasting strength. This is not about magic fixes. This is not about fear. This is about giving you the knowledge to understand your body so you can make informed, powerful decisions for your health. Before we begin, I have 2 small favors to ask. First, if you believe in this mission of clear, credible health information, please take just 1 second to click the like button. It tells YouTube that this is a valuable video, and it helps it reach other people who need to see it. Second, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you won't miss any of our future videos where we break down the science of aging well. And finally, I truly love to see where our community is joining from. In the comments below, please say hello and let me know what city or what country you are watching from today. It's wonderful to see how far this health journey reaches. Thank you for that. Now let's get started. Before we even touch a single vitamin or call out a single food, we must first address the giant in the room. We have to talk about the primary, scientifically proven reason why our legs feel weaker as we get older. It's not a secret, it's not a conspiracy, and for most people, it's not caused by the supplements you're taking. The real culprit has a medical name, and it's a word I believe every single person over the age of 50 needs to understand. That word is sarcopenia. Sarco is the Greek word for flesh, and penia means a loss of. Sarcopenia is, quite simply, the accelerated age-related loss of skeletal muscle mass, strength, and function. You are not imagining it. It's a very real biological process. Research from geriatric medicine is crystal clear on this. Beginning around age 30, the average adult can lose anywhere from 3 to 8% of their muscle mass per decade. After age 60, that rate of loss speeds up significantly. This is why that comfortable armchair seems to have gotten lower over the years. This is why the stairs feel steeper than they used to. It's why a simple stumble, which you would have easily caught in your 40s, can now feel much more dangerous. This is sarcopenia in action. Your muscle fibers, particularly the powerful, fast-twitch fibers that are responsible for quick, strong movements and balance, are shrinking and declining in number. So, why does this happen? It's a combination of factors, of course. Hormonal changes and a tendency to become more sedentary. But one of the most critical factors, and one that we have immense control over, is a concept called anabolic resistance. That might sound complicated, but the idea is simple. Anabolic means to build up. Resistance means your body is ignoring the signal. When you were 30, you could eat a piece of chicken or a bowl of beans, and your body would efficiently receive that protein, break it down into amino acids, and use them to repair and build muscle. As we get older, our muscles become a little bit hard of hearing. They become resistant to the signals from protein. That same piece of chicken no longer provides the same muscle-building punch. Your body's ability to synthesize new muscle protein from the food you eat simply slows down. This means you need a louder signal, more high-quality protein, just to get the same repair job done. And this brings us to the single most dangerous, critical warning of this entire video. The biggest mistake any of us can make is to feel this weakness, to notice this change, and to simply say, well, I'm just getting old. This is normal. We accept it. We stop reaching for the high shelf. We stop carrying the heavy laundry basket. We take the elevator instead of the stairs, and we tell ourselves this is just a normal part of aging. That line of thinking is a trap. Sarcopenia is a condition. And because it is a condition, it is something we can manage, something we can fight, and in many cases, something we can significantly improve. Accepting weakness as inevitable is the one thing that guarantees it will get worse. So how do we fight back? How do we send that louder signal to our hard-of-hearing muscles? We start with the most basic building block of all human tissue: protein. Protein is not just for bodybuilders. It is the essential recovery tool for every body, especially an aging body. Geriatric nutritionists now strongly recommend that seniors need more protein than younger adults, and just as importantly, they need it distributed throughout the day. This is your first core tip. You must prioritize protein intake at every main meal. Saving all your protein for one big dinner is not effective. You must provide those building blocks, those amino acids, to your muscles consistently. Aim for at least 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein with your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. This could be eggs or Greek yogurt in the morning, a generous portion of lean fish or a large bean salad at lunch, and chicken or lentils at dinner. This is your number one weapon. You cannot build a house without bricks, and you cannot build or maintain muscle without protein. But protein is only half of the equation. Providing the bricks is useless if the worksite is constantly on fire. You can eat all the protein in the world, but if your body is in a state of constant low-grade inflammation, it will never be able to use that protein to build muscle. It will be too busy just trying to put out the fire. This brings us to our next crucial topic: the foods that fuel that fire. We must address chronic inflammation. And that is exactly what we are going to cover right now. In the last section, we established that sarcopenia, or age-related muscle loss, is the primary reason our legs feel weaker. And we learned that to fight it, we need to send a louder signal to our muscles with more high-quality protein, consistently at every meal. But I left you with a crucial analogy. You cannot build a house, even with a mountain of bricks, if the worksite is constantly on fire. That fire is chronic inflammation. Now, the word inflammation gets thrown around a lot. So, let's be very clear about what it means, because not all inflammation is bad. In fact, some of it is essential for your survival. When you cut your finger or sprain your ankle, what happens? The area gets red, warm, swollen, and painful. This is acute inflammation. This is your body's intelligent, powerful, life-saving response. It's your immune system rushing an army of white blood cells and healing nutrients to the site of the injury to fight off any potential infection and begin the repair process. This is a good thing. It's a short-term, targeted, powerful response. When the threat is gone, the fire department goes home, and the inflammation subsides. But there is another kind of inflammation. This is the one we must be concerned about. It is called chronic inflammation. This is not a raging, visible fire. This is a low-grade, simmering, invisible fire inside your body. It is a fire that never, ever goes out. Your immune system is permanently switched to a low-on position, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's constantly sending out little alarm signals, creating a state of emergency that your body has to manage all the time. This is where the problem for your leg strength begins. Remember, your body has a limited budget of energy and resources. When it is in a constant state of low-grade emergency, it has to make choices. Resources that should be going to heal your joints, to repair your tissues, and, yes, to build and maintain your muscle mass, are diverted. They are rerouted to go fight this persistent, system-wide fire. But it gets worse. Chronic inflammation doesn't just steal resources. It actively promotes muscle breakdown. Remember in part 2 we talked about anabolic resistance, where your muscles get hard of hearing to the signal to build? Well, chronic inflammation does the opposite. It sends a loud, clear catabolic signal. That is a signal to break down. This inflammation is actively telling your body to break down existing muscle tissue for fuel. So, you are caught in a devastating biological trap. You are trying to eat protein to send the build-up signal, while the chronic inflammation in your body is screaming a breakdown signal at the same time. You are pressing the accelerator and the brake at the exact same moment. This is why you can feel so fatigued, so weak, and why you struggle to see progress. And of course there is the most obvious symptom, pain. Where does the pain and stiffness in your knees, your hips, and your back come from? For millions, it is a direct result of this chronic inflammation which attacks the sensitive tissues in and around your joints. And this creates the truly vicious cycle. Your joints hurt, so you move less. You take the stairs less. You walk less. And because you are moving less, sarcopenia, that age-related muscle loss, accelerates. Your legs get weaker. And because your legs are weaker, they provide less support for your joints, which makes the joint pain even worse. Do you see the cycle? Inflammation causes pain, pain causes inactivity, and inactivity causes muscle loss, which makes the pain and the weakness spiral. How do we even know this is happening? For decades, scientists have been able to measure this. When you go to your doctor, they can run a simple blood test for something called C-reactive protein or CRP. CRP is what we call a biomarker. It is a direct measurement of the level of inflammation in your entire system. And large-scale meta-analyses, studies that combine the results of many other studies, have shown an undeniable, direct, and powerful link between what a person eats and the level of CRP in their blood. What you put on your plate at breakfast, lunch, and dinner is either fueling that fire or it is helping to put it out. This brings us to your core tip for this section, and it is a crucial mindset shift. The solution is not to find one single magic superfood. You will see ads for expensive pills, for exotic berries from a remote mountain, or a rare spice, all claiming to cure inflammation. The scientific truth is that the solution is not a pill. It is a pattern. You must adopt an anti-inflammatory dietary pattern. This is about the overall quality of your diet, day after day. You need to focus on adding the good things, the firefighters, to your plate. What are the firefighters? They are foods rich in antioxidants and phytonutrients. Think of color. Deep, rich colors. The deep blue of blueberries. The dark green of spinach and broccoli. The bright red of a bell pepper. These compounds directly help to neutralize the sparks of inflammation at a cellular level. The other great firefighter? Healthy fats. Specifically omega-3 fatty acids. These are found in walnuts, in flax seeds, in chia seeds, but their most powerful form is in oily fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Omega-3s are one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory signals you can possibly eat. This is your practical tip. Adopt an anti-inflammatory pattern by adding colorful plants and healthy fats, like oily fish, to your meals. And this leads to our critical warning. Please be wary of any supplement or product that promises a fast, magical cure for inflammation. This fire was not built in a day, and it will not be extinguished in a day. The solution is consistency. The solution is in your grocery cart. We've now identified the real problem. Sarcopenia, made worse by a fire of chronic inflammation. We've talked about the firefighters, protein, colorful vegetables, and omega-3s. Now we must talk about the arsonists. We must identify the specific common foods in our diet that are starting and fueling this fire in the first place. And the single biggest culprit, the one we will tackle first, is hiding in plain sight. We are going to talk about refined sugars and starches. In our last section, we identified chronic inflammation as a simmering, internal fire that robs your body of resources, actively breaks down muscle, and creates the very joint pain that leads to inactivity. We talked about adding firefighters to your diet, like colorful vegetables and oily fish. Now, we must be honest about the arsonists. We must identify the things we are consuming, often daily, that are actively throwing gasoline on that fire. The single biggest and most common culprit is not fat. It's sugar. And I'm not just talking about the obvious sugar like the spoonful you put in your coffee, or the sugar in candy and cookies. I'm talking about the hidden sugars, and the foods that act just like sugar the moment they hit your bloodstream. I'm talking about refined carbohydrates and starches. What are these? They are foods like white bread, white rice, pasta, sugary breakfast cereals, pastries, muffins, and of course, any sugar-sweetened beverage like soda or fruit juice from concentrate. These foods have been stripped of their fiber, their protein, and their healthy fats. They are refined down to a pure, fast-digesting starch. And to your body, this pure starch is treated almost identically to pure table sugar. To understand why these foods are so damaging, we need to talk about a concept called the glycemic index. The glycemic index is simply a scale that measures how quickly a food raises your blood sugar, or blood glucose, after you eat it. When you eat something with fiber and protein like a bowl of lentils, that food is broken down very slowly. It releases its energy gradually, like a log burning slowly for hours. This is low glycemic. It gives you stable, steady energy. When you eat a slice of white bread or a bowl of cornflakes or a muffin, that food is high glycemic. It has no fiber to slow it down. Your body digests it almost instantly, and it dumps a massive, sudden load of sugar into your bloodstream. It's not a slow-burning log. It's like throwing a cup of gasoline on the fire, a huge, fast whoosh of energy. Your body panics at this sudden sugar spike. It's a toxic state. So, your pancreas is forced to release a flood of the hormone insulin to quickly get that sugar out of your blood and into your cells. This leads to two major problems for your leg strength. First, the crash. Because the insulin response was so strong and so sudden, it often overshoots. It pulls too much sugar out of your blood, and just an hour or two after you ate, you experience the crash. You feel shaky, weak, foggy, and profoundly fatigued. Your muscles have no energy. This is your body screaming for another fast energy hit, which is why you suddenly crave more sugar or more white bread. It's a debilitating cycle of energy spikes and crashes that leaves you feeling weak all day. Second, and even more damaging, is what this sugar spike does to your body. When you have high levels of sugar circulating in your blood, that sugar starts to, essentially, caramelize your proteins. This is not an analogy, it's a real biochemical process. The sugar molecules sticky attach themselves to proteins and fats in your body, creating new harmful compounds. These compounds have a very fitting name. They are called advanced glycation end products. Their acronym is quite literally AGEs. These AGEs are like molecular grit. They are highly inflammatory. They are stiff, brittle, and dysfunctional. They get into your joints and stiffen your cartilage, contributing to arthritis. They get into your blood vessels and make them rigid and hard, contributing to high blood pressure and poor circulation. They attack the very protein structures that make up your muscles. These AGEs are a primary driver of the chronic inflammation we talked about. Every time you eat a high glycemic meal, you are running a new manufacturing plant for these inflammatory AGEs. You are literally eating the fuel that feeds the fire. This is why a diet high in sugar and refined starches is directly linked to muscle weakness, joint pain, and chronic fatigue. So here's your practical core tip. You do not need to be perfect overnight. This is not about banning all bread or pasta forever. It is about making one simple swap. Start today. Just pick one. If you have toast with white bread every morning, swap it for a 100% whole grain bread, one where you can see the seeds and grains. If you eat a sugary cereal, swap it for plain oatmeal and add a handful of berries yourself. If you drink soda, swap it for sparkling water with a squeeze of lemon. This one simple swap starves the fire and gives your body a fighting chance to heal. And finally, our critical warning for this section. You must become a label detective because food marketers are tricky. Be extremely wary of any product that is loudly labeled fat-free or low-fat. When manufacturers take the fat out of a product, like a salad dressing, a yogurt, or a cookie, they must replace it with something to make it taste good. What do they replace it with? Almost universally, they replace it with massive amounts of sugar and sodium. You might think you are making a healthy, low-fat choice, when in reality you are buying a product that is even more inflammatory than the full-fat original. Always read the ingredients list. Look at the added sugars line on the nutrition panel. That is the number you need to worry about. We've now covered the biggest dietary arsonist, sugar. But there is another one that is equally damaging, that works in a different way. It attacks your circulation and your blood vessels. We need to talk about processed fats. In our last section, we unmasked the first major dietary arsonist, refined sugars and starches. We learned how they spike our blood sugar, create those inflammatory compounds called AGEs, that stiffen our joints and tissues, and trap us in a cycle of fatigue. Now we must turn our attention to the second group of arsonists. These culprits attack our bodies in a different, but equally devastating way. They don't just feed the inflammatory fire, they are designed to clog the fire hoses. I'm talking about a specific class of industrial fats and chemically altered meats. These foods directly attack your circulatory system, the complex highway of arteries, veins, and capillaries responsible for delivering every drop of oxygen and every single nutrient to your hardworking leg muscles. First, let's be very clear. We are not talking about the healthy fats found in avocados, olive oil, nuts, or fish. Your body and your brain need those healthy fats to thrive. The enemy I am talking about is artificial trans fat. You will find this industrial fat hiding in many common foods: stick margarine, store-bought pie crusts, packaged cookies and crackers, microwave popcorn, and many non-dairy coffee creamers. It's also the primary fat used for most deep-fried foods in fast food restaurants. Why was it ever created? For two simple reasons. It's incredibly cheap for manufacturers to produce, and it is shelf-stable. It's what keeps a cracker perfectly crispy for months, or even years on a grocery store shelf. It's great for the food company's bottom line, but it is a biological disaster for your body. For decades, cardiovascular research has been absolutely unequivocally clear on this. Artificial trans fat is perhaps the single worst thing you can eat for your heart health. Here's why. Inside your body, trans fats do something uniquely damaging. They raise your bad cholesterol, the LDL, which is the kind that builds up as plaque in your arteries. But at the same time, they lower your good, protective cholesterol, the HDL, which is the kind that's supposed to remove the bad cholesterol. It's a devastating 1-2 punch that leads directly to stiffened, narrowed, and clogged arteries. And this is the crucial link to your leg strength. This isn't just a distant problem for your heart. When your arteries are stiff and narrow, your circulation becomes sluggish. Your heart has to strain to pump blood through this constricted plumbing. The tiny, delicate blood vessels, the capillaries, that are meant to feed your deep leg muscles, simply don't get the blood flow they need. This means your leg muscles are being starved. They are starved of oxygen. They are starved of the very protein you are trying to eat to fight sarcopenia. They are starved of all the nutrients required for energy and repair. You can be eating a wonderful diet, but if your delivery system is broken, those bricks never make it to the construction site. This directly causes that deep, heavy, fatigued feeling in your legs. It's a primary cause of painful leg cramps, especially at night, when your circulation is naturally slower. But industrial fats are only part of this story. We also need to talk about processed meats. This includes foods like hot dogs, sausages, bacon, salami, and most of the prepackaged deli meats you buy at the counter. The ham, the turkey, the roast beef. The problem here is a double hit. First, they are often very high in the types of saturated fats that also contribute to poor cholesterol profiles. But the far bigger problem is the processing itself. To make these meats last and to give them that characteristic flavor and pink color, they are loaded with two things: sodium and chemical preservatives, most notably nitrates and nitrites. These chemicals, when we eat them, can create compounds in our bodies that are highly inflammatory. They are known to directly damage the delicate lining of our blood vessels, making that circulation problem even worse. They are, in effect, feeding the exact same inflammatory fire we talked about in Part 3. This brings us to your core practical tip. You must become a meticulous ingredient list detective. The food industry is smart. For years, many products have proudly stated 0 grams of trans fat on the front label. But here is the loophole. In the United States, if a single serving contains less than 0.5 grams, the company is legally allowed to round down to 0. If you eat 2 or 3 0 trans fat servings, you could be eating a significant amount. The only way to know the truth is to ignore the front of the box and read the small print ingredient list on the back. If you see the words partially hydrogenated oil or hydrogenated oil, that is the chemical name for trans fat. If you see those words, the product contains trans fat, period. Put it back on the shelf. And this leads us to our critical warning, and it is a big one. It applies to all processed foods, from canned soups to frozen dinners. The hidden danger is sodium. Why is a can of healthy chicken noodle soup a problem for your leg strength? When you consume a massive dose of sodium, which is common in all processed foods, your body desperately tries to protect itself. To dilute this excess salt, it holds on to every drop of water it can. This is called fluid retention or edema. And where does that water go? It pools in your tissues, and gravity pulls it down into your lower legs, your ankles, and your feet. This is the cause of that tight, puffy, swollen feeling. This swelling is not just uncomfortable. It physically compresses the blood vessels in your legs, making your already sluggish circulation even worse. It also forces your heart to work harder, which drives up your blood pressure. You may have eaten a low-fat or low-calorie frozen meal thinking you were doing something good, but you've just flooded your system with sodium, and the result is that heavy, weak, and swollen feeling in your legs. So, we've now identified the real dietary culprits: sugars that fuel inflammation and fats and salts that destroy our circulation. This brings us, finally, to the original, alarming question. What about the vitamins? What about the very supplements you may be taking to try and help your health? Now that we understand the true foundation of the problem, sarcopenia, inflammation, and poor diet, we are finally ready to investigate the claims about vitamin A and vitamin D. We are about to find out how, in some very specific cases, a good thing can become too much. Alright, we have done the foundational work. We've spent the last several sections identifying the real, scientifically backed arsonists that are robbing you of your leg strength: sarcopenia, chronic inflammation, refined sugars, and the industrial fats and sodium that destroy your circulation. Now, at last, we are ready to investigate the headline that brought you here in the first place. The alarming claim about the 2 worst vitamins that weaken your legs. Is this claim a complete lie? Is it just clickbait designed to scare you? The answer, like most things in health, is nuanced. The claim, as it's written, is dangerously misleading. But it is based on a tiny kernel of scientific truth that has been twisted and sensationalized. The problem is not the vitamins themselves. The problem, as it is with so many things, is the dose. And to understand this, you must first understand the single most important distinction in all of nutrition: the difference between the 2 types of vitamins. This is a concept that, once you grasp it, will change the way you look at supplements forever. On one hand, you have water-soluble vitamins. These are vitamin C and the entire family of B vitamins like B12 and folate. The name tells you everything you need to know: they dissolve in water. When you consume these vitamins, your body takes what it needs, and any excess, it simply flushes out. Your kidneys filter it, and it exits your body through your urine. This is why you'll often hear people say that taking a high-dose B-complex or vitamin C supplement just gives you very expensive urine. For the most part, it's very difficult, though not impossible, to reach a toxic level with these vitamins, because your body has a built-in, highly efficient exit strategy for any amount it doesn't need. But on the other hand, you have fat-soluble vitamins. There are only 4 of them, and you must remember them: vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Again, the name says it all. These vitamins do not dissolve in water. They dissolve in fat. And because they cannot be flushed out with your urine, your body does something very different with the excess. It stores them. Where does it store them? It stores them in your fatty tissues, and most critically, it stores them in your liver. This is the entire crux of the issue. When you take a high-dose supplement of vitamin D, any amount your body doesn't need right now is not flushed away. It is put into savings. It is stored. If you take another high dose tomorrow, that gets stored too. And the next day, and the next. This means that, day after day, week after week, you can be accumulating these vitamins, and your levels can build up and build up and build up, until they pass the point of being helpful and cross the line into becoming harmful. This toxic buildup has a specific medical name: hypervitaminosis. This is a fundamental principle of toxicology, first stated by the physician Paracelsus over 500 years ago. The dose makes the poison. Water is essential for life, but if you drink enough of it, it can kill you. Oxygen is life, but too much is toxic. The exact same rule applies here. And this is why your source of vitamins is so incredibly important. This brings us to your core tip for this section. Your first, best, and safest source of all nutrients should always be food. Your body is a miraculous, intelligent system. When you eat a food that is rich in a fat-soluble vitamin like the beta-carotene, a previtamin A, in a carrot, or the vitamin K in spinach, your body has a complex, sophisticated system of digestion and absorption. It knows how to regulate that process. It is designed to take only what it needs from that food and safely excrete the rest. It is almost impossible to poison yourself, to reach a state of hypervitaminosis by eating whole foods. The danger, the risk that those headlines are twisting, comes almost exclusively from high-dose supplements. A high-dose pill is not a food. It is an isolated, concentrated, man-made dose that bypasses your body's natural, protective, regulatory systems. It forces these vitamins into your system whether you need them or not. And this leads us to the most critical warning of this entire video. Because of this very real risk of toxic buildup, you must never start taking a high-dose supplement of vitamin A, D, E, or K based on a guess. Do not do it because you feel tired. Do not do it because an article you read said it was good for you. Do not do it because a friend with their own unique health needs recommended it. Do not guess. Self-diagnosing with fat-soluble vitamins is a dangerous game. The only person who can tell you if you need to supplement one of these vitamins is your doctor. The only way they can know this is by ordering a simple, inexpensive blood test to measure your precise levels. Supplementation must be a targeted medical treatment to correct a diagnosed deficiency, not a shot in the dark. Now that we understand this core principle, that the danger is not the vitamin, but the toxic excess from supplements, we are finally ready to look at the 2 vitamins from the headline one by one. Let's start with vitamin A. What does the science actually say? What happens when you get too much? And does it really weaken your bones and legs? The answer may surprise you. We have established a crucial principle. The danger is not in the vitamin but in the dose, and this risk of toxic overdose or hypervitaminosis applies almost exclusively to the 4 fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K. So, let's now look at the first vitamin from that sensational headline, vitamin A. First, Let me be perfectly clear. Vitamin A is not your enemy. It is an absolutely essential nutrient. You need it for clear vision, especially at night. You need it for a robust, healthy immune system. You need it for cell growth and the health of your skin. It is vital for life. But to understand the risk, you must understand that vitamin A is not just one single thing. It comes in two very different forms, and this distinction is the most important part of this entire section. On one side, you have provitamin A, which is also known as beta-carotene. This is the form of vitamin A that you find in plants. It's what gives carrots, sweet potatoes, and butternut squash their beautiful orange color. You also find it in dark leafy greens like spinach and kale. Beta-carotene is what we call a precursor. It is not active vitamin A. When you eat it, your body, in its wisdom, converts it into active vitamin A, but it only converts as much as it needs. It has a built-in off switch. This is why beta-carotene is incredibly safe. Your body will take what it requires and safely excrete the rest. You can eat carrots all day long and you will not give yourself vitamin A poisoning. You might turn your skin a little orange, a harmless condition called carotenemia, but you will not become toxic. On the other side, you have preformed vitamin A. This is the active form of the vitamin, also known as retinol or retinol esters. This form is found in animal products, especially liver, fish oils like cod liver oil, eggs, and fortified dairy products. And, most importantly, this is the form that is used in most supplements and multivitamins. Because preformed vitamin A is already in its active state, your body does not have a good off switch. It doesn't regulate its absorption in the same way. It absorbs what you give it, and as we learned in part 6, it stores the excess. This is where the danger lies. This is where the headline finds its kernel of truth. What happens when those stores in your liver become too full? What happens when you reach a state of chronic hypervitaminosis? For decades, large-scale scientific studies like the very famous Nurses' Health Study from Harvard have observed a disturbing link. They found that older adults with the highest intake of preformed retinol, not beta-carotene, but retinol from supplements and animal sources, had a significantly lower bone mineral density. And most alarmingly, they had a dramatically higher risk of bone fractures, especially hip fractures. Let's think about that. The very supplement you might be taking to stay healthy could, in high doses, be contributing to the thinning of your bones. The scientific mechanism is now becoming clear. It appears that excess retinol interferes with the delicate balance of your bone health. Your bones are in a constant state of remodeling. You have cells called osteoblasts that build new bone, and cells called osteoclasts that break down old bone. High levels of retinol appear to do two things. They inhibit the bone-building osteoblasts, and at the same time, they stimulate the bone-breaking osteoclasts. It tips the scales. You are breaking down bone faster than you can rebuild it. This directly leads to osteopenia and osteoporosis. So, when that headline claims vitamin A weakens your legs, it's not really talking about your muscles. It's talking about something far more structural and permanent. It's talking about your bones. It's talking about a supplement that, in high doses, could be making your skeleton more brittle and more susceptible to a life-changing fracture from a simple fall. This brings us to your core tip, and it is a simple one. Get your vitamin A from plants. Fill your plate with those colorful vegetables. The carrots, the spinach, the sweet potatoes. Trust your body. It is an intelligent system. It will take the beta-carotene from those foods and create precisely the amount of vitamin A it needs, with no risk of overdose. And this leads to our critical, actionable warning. The real-world danger for most people is not a single supplement. It is supplement stacking. Many people, with the best of intentions, take a daily multivitamin. That multivitamin already contains vitamin A, often in the retinol form. Then, because they heard it was good for their joints or heart, they also take a spoonful of cod liver oil. Cod liver oil is one of the most potent, concentrated sources of preformed vitamin A on the planet. Without realizing it, you could be taking 2, 3, or even 4 times the safe upper limit day after day. My request to you is this. As soon as this video is over, I want you to go to your medicine cabinet. Look at your multivitamin. Look at your fish oil. Look at all of your supplements. Read the labels. Add up the total amount of vitamin A, specifically retinol or retinol palmitate, that you are consuming. You may be shocked at what you find. We've now seen how too much vitamin A can weaken our bones. But what about the other vitamin from the headline? The sunshine vitamin? This is one that doctors are constantly telling us we need more of. How could it possibly be harmful? Next, we are going to investigate the surprising truth about vitamin D. We have just unraveled the truth about vitamin A. We learned that the danger isn't in carrots, but in the high-dose retinol from supplements, which can, over time, weaken our bones. Now, we must confront the second part of that headline, and this one, for many people, is even more confusing. We are going to talk about vitamin D. This is the sunshine vitamin. For the last decade, we have heard an endless drumbeat from doctors, media, and health experts telling us that we are all critically deficient. We've been told that a lack of vitamin D is linked to weak bones, poor immunity, depression, and yes, muscle weakness. So how then can a video claim it is one of the worst vitamins for you? This seems like a complete contradiction. Let's begin by stating the scientific fact in the clearest possible terms. Vitamin D is not an enemy. It is absolutely, fundamentally essential for your health. Its primary job is to act as a key that unlocks your body's ability to absorb calcium from the food you eat. Without vitamin D, you could eat all the calcium-rich foods in the world and most of it would pass right through you. You need it to build and maintain strong bones. You need it for a properly functioning immune system. You need it for muscle function and a stable mood. And the truth is, deficiency in vitamin D is a massive, global problem. Millions of people, especially seniors who may not get as much sun exposure, are genuinely deficient. And that deficiency is a major cause of bone pain, weakness, and an increased risk of falls and fractures. So where does the danger come from? The danger, once again, comes from repeating the exact same principle we learned in Part 6. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. When you take it in high-dose supplemental form, your body stores the excess in your fat tissue and your liver. It accumulates. And just like with vitamin A, it is possible to take so much that your levels cross the line from healthy to toxic. This is called hypervitaminosis D. But here is the critical part to understand. The toxicity from vitamin D is not directly from the vitamin itself. The danger is what the toxic levels of vitamin D do to the calcium in your body. Remember, vitamin D's job is to absorb calcium. When you have normal levels, it does this job perfectly. When you have toxic levels, it becomes hyper-efficient. It goes into overdrive. It starts forcing your body to absorb far too much calcium from your diet. This leads to a very dangerous condition known as hypercalcemia. This simply means you have a dangerously high toxic level of calcium circulating in your bloodstream. Your body, which is designed to run on a very precise balance, is now flooded with this mineral. It panics and it tries to get rid of this excess calcium any way it can. This is the direct link to your leg weakness and pain. First, your kidneys are your primary filters. They are forced to work overtime 24/7, trying to filter this massive calcium load out of your blood. This is a primary cause of intensely painful kidney stones. Over the long term, this relentless strain can lead to permanent kidney damage. Second, when your kidneys can't keep up, your body starts looking for other places to dump this excess calcium. Where does it go? It goes into your soft tissues. This is a process called soft tissue calcification. The calcium starts to form hard, brittle deposits in places it never belongs. It gets deposited in the walls of your arteries, making them stiff and rigid, which drives up your blood pressure. It gets deposited in your heart valves. And most relevant to our discussion, it gets deposited in your muscles and your tendons. You are, quite literally, developing microscopic grit, or rocks, inside your flexible tissues. This is the source of the very symptoms that headline was twisting. This calcification is a direct cause of chronic, unexplained muscle weakness, deep joint pain, stiffness, and painful muscle cramps. You might be taking high-dose vitamin D thinking you are helping your bones, when in reality, you are causing a toxic calcium flood that is making your muscles and joints stiff and weak. So, here is the core tip, and it is the only one that matters. This is not a guessing game. Vitamin D is far too important to get wrong. The only way to know if you are deficient, sufficient, or in excess is to ask your doctor for a blood test. It's a simple test, often called a 25-hydroxy-vitamin D test. It will give you a precise number. That number tells you and your doctor exactly what you need to do. This leads to our critical warning. You must ignore the marketing. When you walk into a pharmacy, you will see bottles of vitamin D in mega doses, 5,000 IU international units, 10,000 IU, even 50,000 IU. These are not like aspirin. These are not intended for casual, daily use. These are potent medical treatments designed for people with severe, clinically diagnosed deficiencies. They are meant to be taken for a short period, under a doctor's strict supervision, with follow-up blood tests to ensure levels don't become toxic. Do not play doctor with vitamin D. Taking a 5,000 IU pill every day just in case is a dangerous gamble. You could be perfectly fine, or you could be slowly, silently creating a state of hypercalcemia. We have now faced the two worst vitamins, and we have found the truth. The enemy is not the vitamin, it is the unsupervised high-dose supplementation. We've spent all this time on what not to do. It is finally time to turn this entire conversation around. It is time to build our proactive plan for real, lasting strength. For the last several parts of this video, we have been acting as detectives. We've been investigating, we've been uncovering the culprits, and we've been identifying the real causes of weakness. Sarcopenia, chronic inflammation, poor circulation from bad fats, and the hidden dangers of too much supplementation. We have spent a lot of time on what not to do. It is time to change our focus. Right now, we are shifting from defense to offense. This is the most important part of the entire video because this is where we build our proactive, simple, three-part plan to build real, lasting leg strength. You do not have to be an athlete. You do not need a gym membership. You do not need expensive equipment. You just need a plan and you need consistency. This plan is built on 3 pillars of strength. The first pillar is something we have already covered in detail. It is anti-inflammatory nutrition. This is our foundation. You now know the plan. We must stop fueling the fire. This means making a conscious effort to reduce those arsonists, the refined sugars, the processed foods, the trans fats, and the excess sodium. And at the same time, we must hire the firefighters. We must prioritize getting high-quality protein at every meal to fight sarcopenia. We must load our plates with colorful fruits and vegetables. We must include those healthy anti-inflammatory omega-3 fats from fish, walnuts, and flax seeds. This is pillar 1, eat to extinguish the fire. The second pillar is one that is so simple, it is tragically overlooked. It is consistent hydration. Yes, just plain water. Why is this a pillar of strength? Because your muscles are roughly 75% water. When you are even mildly dehydrated, your muscle cells cannot function properly. They become less efficient, they fatigue more quickly, and they are far more prone to cramping. Remember our discussion about poor circulation? Dehydration makes your blood thicker. This forces your heart to work harder and makes it even more difficult to deliver oxygen and nutrients to your legs. And your joints? The cartilage that cushions your knees and hips? It requires water to stay lubricated and slippery. Dehydration is like running your body's engine with no oil. You do not need to overdo it, but you must be consistent. Sip water throughout the entire day. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Thirst is the first sign you are already dehydrated. This simple act is essential for muscle function and joint health. And now we come to the third pillar. This is the single most powerful tool you have. This is the only thing that has been scientifically proven to reverse sarcopenia. It is not walking. It is not swimming. Those are fantastic for your heart, but they are not the primary solution for muscle loss. The solution is simple resistance. Geriatric science is absolutely conclusive on this. You are never too old to build new muscle. Studies on individuals in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s have shown that when they begin a simple resistance exercise program, their bodies respond. They build new muscle tissue, they get stronger, and their functional independence improves. What is resistance? It simply means making your muscles work against a force. This force could be a small hand weight, a resistance band, or the most convenient tool you own, your own body weight. This resistance is the signal. It is the wake-up call that finally gets through to those hard-of-hearing muscles we talked about. It is the only signal that tells your body, I need this muscle. It is essential for my survival. Stop breaking it down and start building it up. So where do we start? We start with the single most practical, functional movement you do every single day. This brings us to your core tip, the chair squat. I want you to find a sturdy, stable chair, one that will not slide. A dining room chair is perfect. Sit on the edge of it with your feet planted firmly on the floor about shoulder width apart. Cross your arms over your chest. Now, leaning just slightly forward, I want you to push through your heels and stand all the way up. Then, slowly and with full control, lower yourself back down until you just touch the chair, and then without resting, stand right back up. Do this 10 times in a row. This is not about speed. This is about control. Especially the lowering down part. That slow, controlled lowering is what builds the most strength. If 10 is too easy, do 15. If it's too hard, start with 5. Do this twice a day. Do it during a commercial break. Why this exercise? Because it is the exact movement you need to get out of a chair, off the toilet, and out of a low car. You are building functional strength for real life. You are building independence. Finally, we must have our critical warning. This is non-negotiable. You must start gently. Your goal on day 1 is not to be exhausted. Your goal is to do it with perfect, safe form. If you feel any sharp, stabbing, or electrical pain, you must stop immediately. Muscle fatigue is normal. Joint pain is not. And as always, if you have existing health conditions, high blood pressure, balance issues, or have had a recent surgery, you must consult your doctor or a physical therapist before you begin any new exercise program. They can help you modify it for your specific needs. We now have our 3 pillars: anti-inflammatory nutrition, consistent hydration, and simple resistance. This is the plan. It is not magic, but it is real, it is science-based, and it works. We have come to the end of our journey together today, and I want to sincerely thank you for investing this time in yourself and in your health. So, let's go back to the alarming question that started this entire video. Are vitamin A and vitamin D the 2 worst vitamins that are secretly weakening your legs? We can now answer that question with confidence. No, they are not. They are essential, life-sustaining nutrients. The real, hidden danger is not the vitamins themselves. The danger, as we learned, is in hypervitaminosis. It's the toxic, silent buildup that can happen from unsupervised, high-dose supplementation. It's the danger of taking megadoses of fat-soluble vitamins without a blood test, without a deficiency, and without a doctor's guidance. We learned that too much supplemental vitamin A, as retinol, can in fact interfere with your bone health and increase fracture risk. We learned that too much supplemental vitamin D can lead to toxic calcium levels, causing calcification, joint pain, and muscle weakness. The sensational headlines were twisting a piece of toxicology science to scare you. The true enemies of your leg strength, the ones that affect millions of us every single day, are far more common and far more controllable. The real culprits are, first, sarcopenia, that natural age-related muscle loss that we must fight back against. Second, chronic inflammation, that simmering internal fire fueled by the arsonists on our plate. And third, poor diet, specifically the refined sugars that create those ages, that stiffen our joints, and the processed fats and sodium that clog our circulation and starve our muscles. That is the real battle. But the wonderful news, the empowering news, is that the solutions are not found in an expensive magic pill. The power to build stronger, more reliable, more independent legs is not a secret. It is in your hands, it is on your plate, and it is in your daily habits. The power is in the 3 pillars we built in our last section. It's in the decision to add firefighters to your plate, the high-quality protein, the colorful vegetables, the healthy fats. It's in the simple, consistent act of staying hydrated, sipping water throughout the day to lubricate your joints and help your muscles function. And it is, most powerfully, in the decision to move. It is in the signal of simple resistance like the chair squat that tells your body, I am here, I am strong, and I am building. Please do not let this just be information. Let this be a transformation. You do not need to be perfect tomorrow. This is not about a radical, overnight fix. This is about consistency. The foundation of strength is not built in one day. It is built one brick at a time, one meal at a time, one movement at a time. A small, good decision repeated every day is infinitely more powerful than a massive, perfect effort that you can only sustain for a weekend. So, this brings me to my final challenge to you. I want you to make a commitment. Not to me but to yourself. Based on everything we have covered in this video, what is one new habit you are going to start this week? Just one. Maybe it's swapping your white bread for whole grain. Maybe it's committing to your 10 chair squats. Maybe it's deciding to finally go to your cabinet and check the labels on your supplements, and to call your doctor to schedule that blood test. Whatever it is, I want you to make it real by sharing it. Please comment below and let me know your commitment. I read your comments and I want to see what you are going to do. Sharing it makes you accountable and can inspire someone else. And finally, if you found this video to be clear, honest, and valuable, please do 2 last things for me. First, click the like button. It truly does help this video reach more people. And second, share this video. Share it with a friend, a family member, or anyone in your life who you know is confused by all the conflicting health information online. You could be giving them the clear, science-based answer they have been looking for. Thank you so much for watching. Stay strong, stay informed, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.